Mati back. What's up? We're waiting for the few more minutes and we're gonna get going. Yeah, we come alive. Mati, I was.
Uh-oh, you're on mute, doo-doo.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I saw you traveling the world, and I didn't know where you'd be calling in today. But I'm happy
I'm
to
at
see you
home.
back in the den. I understand. I could, if you wake me up in the middle of the night, drunk and disorientated, I'll be able to tell that background, right? But thank you for joining us. We have
Absolutely.
Michael Barzev. We have DBs in the house. Michael's looking good. I love the Baroque architecture, big windows in Michael's background. We are live as the breakfast show. It's the bull market. Mati Greenspan's here. He's back from home. I love your mug, bro. It's very powerful messaging on your mug, Mati.
On my what?
On your mug.
Show us again. What is on there?
It's just everything from the heart.
Yeah. I thought it says I call Ma Shem, like everything's from God.
Hey, I didn't think of it that way. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, it can be also Hashem.
It's a little acrostic. Welcome, guys. DBs is in the house. DBs is hiding behind a milady because he is a wanted man in North Korea for exposing their frauds, right? But he is, just to give you a picture, this guy is 6'2". He's jack as fuck, and he's eating a steak while we talk. So welcome to the show.
With that description, we can probably find him. North Korea, 6'2", eating steak.
No, he's not North Korean. He's on the hook. North Koreans hate him because he exposes their fraud. DB is a security researcher with, I think it's, I'll let him introduce himself because I don't want to,
Yeah. So by the way, they looked into it and it turns out it's probably not North Koreans. It's probably just some Chinese. I don't know how they figured it out. They track VPNs. They see, and there's some patterns they can follow. But it definitely felt like North Korea. And if not, it was people who did not give a shit about like $1 million or $2 million, because if these people, if they had 5 million on the line, they said, you know what, let's roll the dice again, see what happens. And they just kept waiting and waiting. So from that, we basically assumed, okay, which hacking group could not care about, $5-10 million, but would say, let's wait for 100, right? So we figured it was probably North Korea, but now it just seems to be a group of Chinese.
I would assume there's probably a few of those that did the description. I mean, doesn't seem like.
Right.
Not every hacker is out there going, $1 million, let me go retire. Some of them are looking for
Some of them are saying, also if it came so easy, they saw 10 million available. They're like, well, so many people are falling for it. No one's caught us yet. Let's just keep waiting, right?
Fishing.
Pretty crazy.
Oh, we went straight into the middle. I want to get into this hack because I studied this hack a little bit that you're referring to. But first, I want to get an update from the market. DBs is the ETH agitator in our group chat. He's always memeing ETH, but he's also a big Bitcoin holder. We have Bitcoiners, we have meme coins, we have everything pumping. But let's take it off to Mati to start us off, showing us some charts. Bitcoin dominance is way down. I think that's the main story. And as someone posted in the group, the RSI, the relative strength index for Bitcoin dominance, is way oversold. So the big question now is, will there be some sort of correction? Will Bitcoin dominance creep back up? or are we going to see it break down into a full-blown alt season? Because frankly, all the people are buying Rolexes on the timeline is starting to get a little bit too much for my taste. I preferred when everyone was fighting and humble, right? So let's see what Mati has to say.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we have had a mighty pull breakout above the 110 level. That's what we were looking for. Remember the words that I told you before that breakout. I said, guys, strong breakout of 110. We're looking at 180, very likely in the near term. Right now, what we have on the flag, this is called a bullish flag pattern, right? You can kind of see it here, downward, downward. That is a bullish flag pattern, but obviously it can also turn into a descending triangle. As we know, prices do not always follow what happened in the past. I want to show that Bitcoin market cap dominance that Duda was talking about. This is absolutely killer chart right here, where we can see Bitcoin dominance rising to a mighty high of 66%. That means that all of the value in crypto, 66% of it was parked in Bitcoin. Hi, Dawik. Hi to all of you awesome people out there, both humans and bots. We love you all, and thanks for watching. And please do leave comments. And then just a total meltdown. Some people were like, support level on the Bitcoin dominance, like any kind of stock index, doesn't follow technical analysis. We can look at the chart to like try and figure out what's going on, or say, okay, are we high or are we low? But it's not going to go, oh, there's an RSI. We better respect that, or there's like a support level. It doesn't give a shit. I'm not even going to notice. And then obviously I want to take a look at Dogecoin, the one that I've been trading on. And unfortunately, so I had a nice run up. I'm doing the live trading show, as you know, once a week with Hernan. I made a nice little profit over here. I took my principal out. I reinvested it. I got stop on this fucking little wick right here, and I missed. Man, if I would have not gotten stopped, I would be at like $50,000 profit right now. I'm trying not to let it eat me, but such is life, and the Lord is good. So I'm not.
How much leverage are you using on these bad boys? Because
150x. Yeah, 150x. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize you were that much of a degen. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it's for gambling money. It's money that I can afford to lose. So I'm okay with that. And some level of comfort that I was able to take my principal out. So I didn't actually lose anything, but the FOMO is eating me alive, to be honest. It's like, it's a killer. We'll talk about that more on the live trading show. It's alt season, okay? I'm sorry, there's no other way to say this. This breakdown in the Bitcoin market cap dominance, this means only one thing. It means that people are very content with Bitcoin going up. They're taking some of those profits out of Bitcoin, and they're deciding that now is the time for altcoins. Altcoins go up a lot faster than Bitcoin because they are less liquid, and because there's a lot, when a smaller amount of money is chasing them, there are less coins available on the market. They just go up. They just tend to go up faster. They are a lot more risky, especially for the buy and holders, because when the bear market comes, they get destroyed. They're susceptible to 90+% drawdowns, which Bitcoin I don't believe is anymore. So know your seasons and act accordingly. You wouldn't want to wear a winter coat in the summer, and you wouldn't want to go out in the winter without a nice umbrella. So same thing in the markets. Just be prepared for what's happening outside. Back to you, Dudu.
So I think it's thank you for the recap. I think it's a very important point that these Bitcoin dominance is not like a normal stock. So the laws of technical analysis don't apply the same. The question is, like, we're obviously in an alt season. The question is how long it will last. And my theory, and I'm betting on this theory, because right now I'm not buying, I'm selling. I'm trying to get rid of everything in my portfolio, because I think that the days of having a 6-month alt season are gone. I think alt season are going to be much more compact, and they're going to be much more violent, and then there's going to be a correction, right? So you're seeing coins like Fartcoin, Pengu, all these kind of blue chip memes, right, that are rallying pretty hard, but no one would forget that like Pengu had a massive drawdown, 60-70% drawdown after
I'll tell
TGE,
you what it
and
is
now it's
from a market psychology perspective. It's that basically everybody got their asses handed. Everybody was a millionaire in 2021, right? 2019, 2020, 2022, 2021. Those 3 years in a row, the government was printing money like there's no tomorrow. Everybody got filthy spanking rich, and then they all lost everything in the bear market of 2022, 2023. People are like, I got nothing left, and they've been promising themselves for the last 2 years. Once I have some money again, I'm taking it off the table. Okay, and so you're going to see a lot more profit taking this time around, because that is now, it's part of who people are, it's part of who traders are, especially if you're making a lot of money in a little bit of amount of time. It's more likely that you're going to take some of that off the table. It doesn't necessarily tell you what's going to happen in the next 5 years or the next 10 years, but it does mean a lot more volatility in the near term, especially a run up like this. You'd expect that there's going to be some pullback afterward, probably, but who knows?
I want to take it to our gentlemen in the guest, each one with his own expertise, and kind of try and see if we can pass out the implications of the alt season on things that are, you and I, Mati, we just want to see green candles, but these guys are professionals, right? So Dave Bees, right, is a security researcher, and like my question is, like, do we see, like, is business booming for you guys? Do you see more hacks with number go up, or the North Korean gentleman price insensitive when it comes to draining small contracts?
So, so first of all, I just want to start off by saying I'm a really shitty trader. I have no idea how to trade. If I say number goes up, the number is going down. Just counter trade me. Whatever I say, do the opposite. But what you mentioned is really, really interesting, because as ETH started pumping, there was actually a huge uptick in hacks. And for like, while ETH was going down and was low, there were actually almost no hacks. All of a sudden, as ETH pumping, you had Peapod's Finance got hacked for $1 million, GMX 45, Arcadia 4 million, and I can keep listing more and more, $1 million. It all sort of just happened right as the market starts pumping. And I've seen this actually before, that as the market goes up, there are more hacks. So I don't know why. I don't think North Korea is, trying to get in at a good price or whatever. But there is something actually really interesting about that. What I don't like is that I'm seeing now, though, in the market in general, is that everyone is sort of calling for an alt season, right? There seems to be too much confidence in the market, where it's just sort of accepted, all right, that's it, BTC dominance down, and everyone and their cousin is saying, altcoin times down, altcoin times down. And my general sentiment is to fade crypto Twitter, right? Like whatever crypto Twitter says, sort of do the opposite. When they're all crying and saying that's it, ETH is going to zero, that's the time to buy. When they're all celebrating, saying that's it, ETH to 10K, that's when you sell. But again, I really don't know. That's just sort of how I started seeing things recently.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting time to be a trader, interesting time to be a hacker. Is it an interesting time to be TradFi? And Michael, welcoming back. Last time we had him was it seemed like ages ago, because it was in crypto terms. We had no real tokenized stocks on the market. We were talking about Shift and the plans to bring stock value, ETF value on chain, and now it just kind of, especially on the 30th of June, everyone remembers the day that happened, because it was the last day of the first half of the year, and now we're in the second half of the year, and it just seems like TradFi is where the action's happening, not just on the tokenized stock side, but also on this, treasury companies, whether it's Bitcoin treasury company, ETH treasury companies. For a lot of in a lot of ways, alt season is happening on the stock market, and unfortunately for us, that means that we can't buy these assets with our stables, we can't LP them, we can't farm them, and Michael's coming to change that. So Curious to hear your take about the last 6 weeks, how this kind of positive sentiment has affected facts on the ground for you and for Shift.
Yeah. So, what I'm seeing is that all of what we see in crypto affects RWAs as well, and so I think that this. Hey, where's Duda? Duda dropped. Are we gonna wait for him or just continue? I'm gonna wait for a second.
Damn,
not
Mati,
fun without Duda.
150x leverage. What does that mean? Like a 0.5% down and you're liquidated? That's insane.
Yeah, something like that. No, it's a lot of leverage.
What platform even gives you 150x?
It's gone well for me many times before, and it's gone terrible for me many times before. So it's a thing.
Is it like a drug you take where like you have to keep upping the dosage over time? Like
no.
Leverage. It's like I don't feel shit anymore. Give me 10x.
150.
No, it's like it's like when somebody goes to the casino and they go, here's my budget. I'm gonna burn some of this money, and then I might see something back. That's it's kind of like that, but I think the odds are better for me, anyways, because I've been in this for so long, and I have certainly made some hefty withdrawals in the past. So, and I have some war stories of just like what happened last week, exactly like what happened. Grab my stop loss by a few pips and then go up to the moon. So, I look when I'm investing, I want my money to be safe over time and grow as the assets appreciate, as I am as an investor creating value. I expect that return in value to come over time.
So do you see this purely as gambling, or do you also like think you have a trader's edge?
When I'm trading, I want to take a little bit of money and turn it into a lot of money. That's it. That's the point of it. And
so you're basically
no, I do feel like I have an edge over, and I am, I believe, according to yes, I am on a meeting. I believe according to, overall, I've been profitable, quite profitable. So, I mean, if I put in $500, I mean, 8 out of 10 times, I'll probably just lose it completely.
Right. In your head, it's either going to 0 or 100K. You're like, I don't give a shit about anything in the middle. Like,
exactly.
Like don't let me turn it into 1,000. You don't care.
That's right. That's right. Right.
6 digits or bust.
Yeah. On the first trade that I was talking about, the first trade of the live trading show, I turned it into 3,500, and then that draw with a drawdown, it came out to about 1,500 or 1.7. I took the 700 out. I gave my 10% to charity, and then I put another 1,000 back into the market. And I said, okay, double up. And I said, if Doge goes to $1, I'll make.
Then I'm a billionaire.
Yeah, I nearly did, man. I nearly fucking did, man. No, seriously, if that was so. Like, also, it wasn't just if I had set my stop loss lower. It was if I had have waited 10 minutes to open the trade, I would have gotten in at a better price, and my stop loss would have naturally been lower. And that's why it's just a pisser from all sides.
Okay, I have a question for you two that I want to understand now, because I'm like, as a pure technologist who really only has to deal with the tech and everything. How do you explain XRP pumping so hard, Cardano, Stellar, XLM, all these chains that if I look at from a pure technical perspective, I'm like, it's obviously dog shit, but I've 5, 6, 7, 8 years later, is the market wrong or am I just missing something, right?
You're missing something.
So what am I missing?
What you're missing is that all of the top 10 are traded as meme. So they're not really traded out of the thought of who now has the best product, who is going to deliver next year some killer app. Is Cardano going to come out with a product? No, Cardano is probably not going to beat the blockchain war at this stage, or Ripple may or may not succeed as a product. It's not that. It's not what moves the price. What moves the price is people coming in speculating over charts, over general enthusiasm, over, they heard it's I don't think it's about what they do. And there's a lot of traders, especially in Tradeify, which work on signals. And so if you hear that Tesla is going to release this amazing new car, it's going to jump. But Doge is not working on new cars or new tech. So Doge, well, I read some piece not long ago about Doge and about how, I think it was from Udi Wertheimer.
We talked about that on the last week's show, the mindfuck article.
Yeah. So I don't want to go back to that, but literally, I think that if you ask why this or that token is moving now, don't try and go deep into what they're delivering, what tech, but rather ask, what is the sentiment toward this? Who is now trying to dump it? Who is now trying to pump it? And that's how I see it. And it's sad to say, people don't do enough research and they don't check what they're buying. They're buying it from pure speculative reasons to see if it goes up. They have no indication that it's going up. And so, that I can say that as a fact, because we all know that there's no news coming in from Doge about their new tech next year. So that's.
So you have a lot of apes and you have a lot of FOMO, and you put apes and the FOMO together, and this is what you get. And I in some way, like, and you have also a lot of tribalism, right? And then you have people that, like, they deeply connect to their specific community. They deeply connect to their specific coin because they feel like that is like the next one. And then you have, I think, probably 80 or 90% of us who go like open-mindedness and go, okay, well, we know that Bitcoin is the king, but there are all these other coins out there. And I'm happy to make money wherever. I'm happy to make a buck wherever I find it. And
I think that's the point, Mati, and everybody does.
It's not just which one you think is going to be great. Your point is to think which one everybody else thinks is going to be great, and that's it's like hard to believe in the stock market, penny stocks, and on a daily basis as well. Only here it's a lot more ludicrous because it's not people who are serious finance bucks who come into to work with a suit every day who are making the shots. It's people in their pajamas at their mom's basement. And
that's the root they're saying, is that we think we're all highly advanced in the chain revenue and blah blah, but in reality it's just a bunch of dudes in pajamas, and it's all about who has the most attention and meme space, and that's basically what it boils down to. The fundamentals really don't matter much.
They do matter a lot. Actually, they matter a lot more than you might think. And the stock market has been said to be a voting mechanism in the short term and a weighing mechanism in the long term. And that's exactly what's happening here. It's like
the long-term fundamentals matter, but then how is Cardano still in the top 10 8 years later, right? That doesn't explain it. If you say long-term, how much longer until Cardano, right, drops to 30, 40?
Well, you know what? In the long term, and they have been playing a long-term game from the beginning. They've been saying long-term. They've been saying what we're going to be. Hoskinson's a smart fucker, okay? He's a real smart fucker. He understands that the way that you win this game is by never completing your roadmap. And therefore, he's begun an endless roadmap. When will it fall? I don't know if it ever will. Maybe the market will catch up with its valuation and its relative valuation. Maybe it'll just kind of stagnate compared to some of the other winners. But he has built a 10,000-pound truck, right? And the market is accurately weighing it, and therefore, is it justified? I don't know. Is Tesla justified in being like 100 times valuable than all the other car companies on the world? No, but
Smart question.
the weighing mechanism is doing its job, right? And if you think that there's a mismatch in what the market is pricing something, and you've done your research and have very solid fundamentals, you can make a lot of money. A lot of money right there.
Let me ask you a counter question. Mati, I want to ask you a question. So we've seen Ethereum on what I call the stable fix for a few years, right? Now it's a bit running, but it's been stuck on 2,500, 2,800, like 3 years. And it's been working, it's been moving, it's been generating money, it's been advancing technologically, it's been gaining huge volumes. Why is it not going up? Because there is no correlation. If Cardano is not going down and ETH is not going up, I think that proves that there is no correlation, and it's not about delivery, it's not about revenue, it's not about users, it's not about anything. It's about what you guys just said. It's about rating. It's about speculating what's going to go high. It's not about what they do.
I want to believe that Mati's right.
That's good and bad.
We just haven't seen that the market's just too young. I want to believe that Mati's right because it makes the most sense, and we just need to wait another 5 to 10 years. I don't know.
When crypto doesn't make
the market won't suddenly come to its senses. There's no catalyst.
I mean, over time.
Yes. Oh, exactly.
Over how much time?
Right.
The market's gonna go more retarded as the famous saying goes. The market can stay retarded longer than you can stay solvent. Right? Yes. We're not going anymore. I want to get Michael's take on it from a perspective of like what they're doing at Shift, because that's totally fundamentals based. But the way I see it is we're not getting any more. We're not going to go back to fundamentals in the macro sense. Like you mentioned 2021, people were gambling on Robinhood with their stimulus checks. People feel that there's sort of like this feeling, and I have it too, where the only way to get out of the rat race is to hyper gamble your way out of it. Because if you're in a 9 to 5, if you're and I was there until not long ago, and you're getting your 10% salary increase at the end of the month, at the end of the year, that you work so hard to negotiate it. If you work hard, you get a 10% increase or a 5% increase or whatever every 18 months, every year. You're not going to escape anything. Meanwhile,
20%.
You just had to negotiate those raises. I've never got that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you got it. I always got 3 years. Yeah, for me, I always got a raise because I would skip. I'd like be in a job or be like stagnant. There was nowhere to go, and then I'd go get a new job with a bit of a raise. But even that, like, bit of a raise, you're not going to get out there. You're not going to stop running. So there's a kind of feeling that the only way is to kind of hyper gamble your way out of it. At least that's how I see it. I don't think it's going to go more fundamental.
There are a few other ways to do it. I mean, you could actually create a business and actually succeed with that business. And there's not either work your ass off and get nothing, or gamble and be a degen and maybe win like on a lottery. There are other paths.
You have to realize, Michael, that the social agreement up until around 10, 15 years ago was that working a salary man's job and making your way up the ladder would allow you to purchase a house and all these other things. And that's only been taken away in the last 10 to 15 years, right? So now you basically have an entire population, 20 years or so. Now you have an entire population where the options are, go build a business, take it back into your own hands, or hyper gamble, right? So I can't really blame most of the people. Why do you think sports betting in America has become so popular? Every other fucking guy is betting on sports games, gambling. It all comes down to, in my opinion, this root cause of basically inflation has stolen away the futures of young people. right? Where you
It's
could have
true.
once upon a time gotten a
That's
job and built your way
inflation.
up.
That's a funny way of saying BlackRock.
Yeah, well, BlackRock, inflation, however you want to.
It's not just that, but
If we want to get into the new world, I'm down. It's up to Dudu if he wants to allow it or not. But we can
I agree. Our parents were richer than their parents, and they could afford buying a house in, let's say, a measurable and normal amount of months to pay for that between, I guess, 25 and 100, which makes sense for a young couple to afford and be able to buy themselves a house, which is now globally becoming a very big issue. And so our entire generation, which was expecting to get richer than our parents, just like our parents, is not going to be, because A, too many people, B, markets have been saturated. So tech has done its jump. And now what we're seeing is the opposite direction. What we're going to see is literally people become poorer because A, there are many more people than there used to be. B, AI is going to take many more jobs. Mati, you're doing that. You're gonna say no and gonna counter that. That's good.
Finish your
For
thought.
that's my yeah. My point of view is that my kids, I'm not sure how they will make money in the world, and it's sad for me to admit that I don't understand what jobs are going to be available in 20 or 30 years, because literally AI is going to it's going to take over, let's say, all the simple quote unquote work, and then it's going to start swallowing up more and more management and more entrepreneurial stuff. And I don't know, I've been dabbling with these nice machines. If you ask them questions, you see that they already have amazing business ideas. And if they have a bit more independence, like imagine 5 years from today, that chat could literally create a business, run a business, do the marketing, and we've seen a POC for this. We've seen it. Oh, Mati, come on. I'm not talking about now, but 5 years from today, I believe that an AI could create a business from scratch, make a lot of money for itself. And then why does he need us humans? Yeah, I see a lot of skepticism.
Okay, so
a lot of skepticism.
a lot
Mati,
of stuff in there that I'm not comfortable or not entirely agreeing with, and we're allowed to have differences of opinion.
We should have differences, or else it's going to be super boring.
But let's start with the fact that we're poorer than our parents. I don't believe that. I think it's harder to buy a house because there have been some entities at the top that have cornered that market. But if you go out and build your own house, you do the work and whatnot, it's still there. There's just the way that the housing market now works. It's made it super easy for very large entities to come in, see where the value is, and suck up that value and the small margins of value. And therefore, if you're thinking about a house as an investment, I don't think that you're going to be able to beat BlackRock at their own game there. Like what happened in 2000, the run up to 2008. That sort of house flipping model, it's just not going to work for the little bit anymore. If you really want a place to live, I think if you go out in the boonies somewhere, buy yourself a property for cheap and build your own house, I think you can do that. I don't think that's going to be much of an issue for most people. But I don't think that's telling that we're poorer now than our parents were. Living standards are way up compared to 40 years ago, compared to 100 years ago, certainly. And even compared to maybe 15 years ago and 10 years ago. You can research a gentleman by the name of Professor Steven Pinker, who I admire very much, and he puts it on a graph. And he goes, look, prosperity only goes up over time. Technology leads to prosperity. The more technology we have in the world, the less we have to work, and the better our living conditions become. And therefore, To think that we're poorer than our parents were, I don't see any serious evidence
I
of
don't
that.
think your parents were gambling, hyper gambling 150x on Doge. So I think maybe, but I wanna agree with
All of that
Michael.
generation, anybody who worked hard and invested,
Yeah, I think
they're
also that they could
they're
buy a
screen
house
printing
in a
now. I'm
normal
sorry.
neighborhood. They didn't have to move into the backyards of Alabama to build a shack at an affordable price, right?
Again, no, the housing market is fucked up. I got that, and there's ways to explain those mechanisms, but that doesn't mean that our living conditions have gone down.
I didn't say that. I didn't say our living conditions have gone
Okay,
down.
so that's you said that
That's
we're
not true.
poor. You said that we're
I
poor
do. We are.
because we
Listen,
can't
I
afford
mean,
a house.
it depends. Who you're
Because we-
comparing it to. If you're talking about
Because
the
we're
cost of
living
an
in
iPhone,
debt.
Living conditions have gone up, then that means that you're richer, right? And what is the measurement of that?
I'm
then?
talking about house, car, meat, eggs. That's what I'm talking about. House, car, meat,
Steak.
eggs. I'm not talking iPhone, vacuum cleaners, televisions.
Yeah,
Those are
okay.
the ones
I
that
think-
are sucking that extra cash. I think
I
that's
think
what Mati's
the-
saying, because we are having more cash, but we're actually having less free income. That's what I see. So
Yeah,
we have, we're spending much more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
and,
missing word here, I think is inequality. I think like Pinker and all those graphs, like they're very relevant. Oh, I'm not on. Okay.
Yeah, it is become very extreme.
Like
You're either
it's,
very poor or rich.
Yeah, it's very relevant for like the Pinker graphs and whatever. Obviously, wealth has increased, and technology should make things more affordable by giving us productivity gains. But in actual fact, like, you know, we live in Israel, and like, how many people here are living in minus, in debt? You know, and that
All of
number
them.
just goes that number just goes up and up and up and up and up, and people are there's sort of a vanishing middle class, which is the problem. But
But
I'm
that's
very
so that's that's a very short term issue that was caused by the short term issue of money printing. So
you think money printing is a short term issue?
the economy goes through phases, and I was trying to explain this before. When in 2019 through 2021, they were printing money like there's no tomorrow, and we all felt super rich. And now, if you think about it in comparison to now, we're feeling the effects of that, of inflation and whatever, and we're like, now we're all super poor. Did we all go from rich to poor? No, the economy is breathing. That's the economy breathes in, the economy breathes out. And if you're looking at us as far as our lifetime, I don't think that we're any worse off than our parents. I think that we're much better off due to the new technology that we have. I guess it's a matter of opinion, but the picture
That's completely subjective to what you think.
Yeah.
But literally, none of my friends can afford an apartment. None of my friends have plus in their bank, in their savings, and I don't think it's going to a good place. And yeah, so we have air conditions and we have iPhones, and we don't work in the sun and break stones all day like 100 years ago. That's true. I didn't say we have a harder life than our grandparents. No, our grandparents had a lot of physical work, and we do much less of that. But that's not to say the level of stress in our life is not affecting us very badly at this stage, because I think that competition is getting harder and harder. And so globalization is making everywhere harder to live. I don't know if life has gotten better
You think
since
that
the
people in
80s.
the 1950s had less stress than we do today? Do you
I
think
haven't been around in the
Exactly,
1950s, but
that's what I'm saying. So a breadwinner, you know, where his wife didn't work, you know, and had 2 or 3 children at that time, yeah, maybe it was easier for him to buy a house. But he had
he
other
wasn't
stress.
afraid to be homeless.
He didn't have
Maybe.
the
He wasn't afraid.
He didn't have the option to hyper gamble his way out, and he didn't have the option. He didn't have the option to build a business. He didn't even have those options were just not available to him. And now you're saying you have that option to take your own wealth into your own hands. Yes, we can either hyper gamble, or we can build a business. Previous
I'm
generation.
not sure I agree with that, Mati, because people could also
shake someone's hand, get a job, work 9 to 5, and didn't have to think twice. And
Billionaires
that's what
were
most
not
people need.
self-made billionaires were not even a thing 50 years
no.
ago.
There
Yes,
is
but again, we're talking
not
about
much of that.
extremes. That's what Dudu was saying before about inequality. Like, yeah, if you want to become a billionaire, today is much better than the 1950s. But if you just want to be a regular dude, work a 9 to 5, and have a good quality of life and not be stressed and minus, then
You're going to be
in my
poor.
opinion, the 1950s, 1960s were better than today.
Yep.
So again, it's not the
That's-
extremes.
Yep.
But again, I mean, this is just an
I'll
opinion.
agree to disagree.
I wanna let the Fiat Maxis have fun staying poor, and I wanna move on to, because we can go in endless circles, and this is a very passionate debate because obviously it touches the core of us and what we do and what we get up in the morning to do, but we can be at this for hours, and I think the Fiat Maxis will have fun staying poor, while Michael will have fun explaining to us this big piece of news that just dropped yesterday.
Yeah.
Orca and Shift stocks coming to Orca. First of all, I want to know what Shift stocks are. I want to know what the implications of this announcement are. What does that mean? What does it look like what's going to look like when it comes out? And also congratulations, because this is a big news. Solana, Orca, these are the giants, the orcas of the DeFi world, and Shift is rubbing elbows with the big boys now. Obviously a lot more to come. So congratulations.
And can you trade it at 150x leverage? That's the most important part.
You will be able to. Yeah. We are cooperating with a few very interesting dApps and DEXs that will allow leverage and at second stage perps. But let's give a bit of.
Do me a favor. If you do offer those type of leverages, at least like qualify the customer beforehand, because I've seen way too many people lose a lot of money because they just didn't know what they were doing with high leverage. Please.
So I'm all for responsible trading and responsible gambling in that sense.
Mati is asking you to block him. Just don't let him touch it.
No, allow me, but block the please.
Allow me. But that's what crypto is about. Don't block.
That's exactly what an addict would say. That's exactly.
No.
What
I'm a licensed portfolio manager. I'm a licensed individual by
the
the
licensed individual.
Cyprus SEC. All right,
You're literally preaching us why accredited investors are blocking out retail.
No, I didn't say accredited. No, accredited investors is bullshit, because that means that according to your status of wealth, that is how much access you should have, and that is absolutely wrong in my opinion. But according to somebody's knowledge and experience, that's a different story. Yes, and their willingness. At least, first of all, there should be disclaimers that people understand when they're doing high leverage. What I understand is that I'm more than likely to lose all my money, which, okay, as soon as I understand that, I'm fine with it. That's one thing. And second of all, there should be some sort of a knowledge and experience test that people have to say, okay, I know what.
Interesting.
I know what these terms mean. Okay, I know what leverage means. I know how it can be harmful to me, and I know market dynamics enough. I know how to read a fucking price graph. Okay, I know what a candlestick is. Okay, if somebody's coming in with 150x leverage and they don't know how to read a candlestick chart, sorry, they don't belong there, and they're going to lose their money.
Most likely, but wait, let me just go a bit back. We are an issuer of RWAs. What we bring is stocks, ETFs, and bonds as cryptocurrency native tokens, which are non-securities. That's what Shift does. Shift is not a trading venue. It is not a leverage, allowing platform. We just allow minting platforms backed one-to-one by the actual asset. So if you have a Tesla token, that is backed by one Tesla stock. So beyond that, I just issued you this Tesla token. I'm not telling you what to do with it, where to trade it, what DeFi elements you want to add on. So if you want to stake it, if you want to borrow it, if you want to put it in a vault and get fixed APY, because there's the strategy going on. And if you want to put a threshold and say, if you'd pay me 5.5 APY, I will lend you out these Tesla tokens, etc. these are the things that us as an issuer would endorse. I'm not a DEX. We're not a DEX. We're not a trading venue where people come and leverage. So what we do is we actually work with partners. We work with Orca. We work with other partners, which I will not mention today because I'm going to give Orca the stage today. But we are going to distribute with multiple DEXs and multiple DApps in order to get to the right people. So we ourselves are not a trading venue. But what I wanted to talk about is what we're seeing in the last month and a half. And since our last call, when there were actually no tokenized stocks and bonds on the permissionless market, now we're seeing actually the first ones coming out in the form of X stocks together with Kraken. And we've also had a very interesting announcement from Robinhood a few weeks ago that they will also bring to the cryptocurrency arena all of the traditional assets. Now, let's talk a bit about the differences between Robinhood, X stocks, and of course Shift. So Robinhood have announced that they will create an L2 out of a instance of Arbitrum, and then they had also bought a centralized exchange in Europe, and in that way they will allow European customers and possibly other jurisdictions in the continuation of it to access these synthetic assets, which they're backing with CFDs and trading only at open market time on their permissioned private network. And this is the beginning of something that may become interesting later. Sorry, but for me, just another trading venue with CFDs. I mean, we talked about eToro, which is amazing. Why do I need Robinhood doing this again? I'm not sure. So in that sense, Robinhood are in some direction, which I think is not exactly, it's not what the customer is looking for. That's what I think. But they did talk about step 2 and step 3, which did sound more like Shift. So step 3, which they said was creating a token which is permissionless and actually allowing every person to do P2P, to move it freely, permissionlessly from wallet to wallet, from person to person, from SEX to DEX to DApp. That is what we are doing on day 1. So they're saying that they're going to do that in a couple of months or a year. Good for them. We're going to do it right now. And then the second amazing thing that happened was X stocks. X stocks, which is backed finance, Adam Levy, which is a great entrepreneur. And he's been at it for a long time. He's been creating this security token offering, I think, since 2021. And he's been doing this for a long time. He started from Switzerland, then moved with this licensing to Jersey, and then now he joined up with Kraken to bring these security tokens as permissionless tokens in the secondary market. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but it sounds to me like security tokens sold permissionlessly are still security tokens. So once again, without shilling, I just think that security tokens which are permissioned, which have clawbacks without whitelists, blacklists, or can actually be withdrawn from your wallet by backed finance whenever they want, are not the actually exact correct representation of cryptocurrencies in our world. So if you have a permission token, you have implications that you may not know today. But let's say, just like fiat, if someone decides that you've done something wrong, they could stop that. So that is not crypto in that sense. And we do appreciate the fact that they've brought these assets from inaccessibility to accessibility, but it is not what we see as the end game. And so once there is a Shift token out there, which will be in the next couple of weeks, What we will be able to offer is a truly permissionless token. And it is not only for accredited investors, it is not only for B2B, but for the first time, actually tokenized securities, which we brought as non-securities as we deprecated some of that functionality, like voting rights and dividends, we're actually able to bring a legally backed, 100% backed cryptocurrency token, which represents that stock or the value of that stock, the underlying asset that we have in our custodian. Last but not least, you can always come to us and cash out at market price on that token. So that's just, to explain how the methodology is. It's interesting to learn that we also have the ability to redeem the stock. So if you want the actual stock in your Charles Schwab or brokerage account, we can actually send that to you. I don't think that's a heavy use case, but just so people know that it's possible. And I think it goes to show that we actually have that stock the whole time. So people ask, what is it backed by? It is backed by the stock. In that sense, what we're seeing, I think, is the ability for every person with crypto to now, without off-ramping, without having to convince his bank to take that crypto, or whatever procedure need to be done to off-ramp. And in Israel, for instance, it's almost impossible. I will not be able to take my crypto to my bank account, even if I paid my taxes, did everything properly, come with this much paperwork, they'd still say, no, sir. And so we are actually giving all of these people an option to invest in a whole new plethora of opportunities that were blocked off. And I think it's not only for crypto, but you can see that half of the world does not have access to these assets. And so once you have it in the form of crypto, you are actually cutting out not only middlemen, but allowing people from places like China. Think about that. A Chinese person cannot buy Tesla right now. Did you know that? They cannot. They have no access to American stocks at all. Now, it's not only that. We're going to tokenize public Chinese companies. Do you guys have access to that? I don't think many people around the world have access to a lot of closed gardens that we will enable to buy from every point to every point. So that's really the actual, the actual promise or the dream that we had and have, is to free these assets and to bring them to every person. And I mean, Mati, you have a very good point in responsibility and being responsible for people and for their, not allowing them to lose all their money irresponsibly. And in that sense, I think that we are actually allowing people with the different trading venues that we'll be on to actually access these things more responsibly. And yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of taking your family's principal and gambling on it, but I am a fan of tranching things. So if I have, just for instance, 100K, this is my savings, I am going to put around 90 to 95% of that in very stable assets that I don't want to go to zero or literally cannot, like T-bills are very safe, and ETFs, which are non-volatile and are very wide because they are indexes and actually own within them a very big amount of different stocks. So the volatility of these indexes is very low, and their chances of going to zero historically is almost zero. And so I, as a family man, which have responsibility towards my wife, my kids, etc., cannot just go and do 150x on those Tesla stocks, hoping I won't get liquidated in one of those. And So it's all about allowing people to have the different risk versus return rates. And if we bring the very stable bonds, the less stable ETFs, and finally, I think the meme kind of single stocks, we actually cater to every risk versus return. And it's not, I mean, we're definitely not endorsing irresponsible trading, but I think it is up to the users and the trading venues, because we're not a trading venue, but it is up to the trading venues to do things in a rational way. And so warnings of you can lose all your money, or even any disclaimer that says that there is high risk. And you know what's sad? People never read terms and conditions. And we have a white paper which has so many different things that are interesting to read. What could go wrong? And it's interesting to know what could go wrong. So we built the system over 3 years, which is very much bankruptcy remote. So we ourselves, if we disappear, the tokens, the bank account, the stocks are still there. So it's really interesting to understand when you're trading an asset, anything that you're trading, know what your risks are, and not only the liquidation risks, but what license the company that you're giving money has. Where is that money being held? Can I see attestations for proof of reserve? How often can I see them? Who is signing them? And what systems are these being built on? So I'm looking at all of these different indexes, and you know, we're trying to offer a true, let's say, a true safe experience, because we've really built a system where we can't mint out of thin air, and we always have the backing asset with us. And so there cannot be a bank run. So let's say we now have 100,000 Teslas, and Tesla now drops, and everybody's coming to get their Teslas. And so I get the question of, how are you going to deal with everybody cashing out at once? I have no problem. I sell out those Teslas in the market and pay out the price. So there's no bank run in that sense on us. There's no collapse of the Tesla because they're trying to get out and they can't get out. They literally have a huge market cap on the TradeFi side. And you know, actually, I'm gonna say another thing which is counter to that. I do want to get to the point where crypto and the power of the crypto users is a bit like what happened with Wall Street Bets and Robinhood a few years ago. And I think, and people ask me, but you know, how could we affect the stock? We could. If we decide, if crypto people decide to buy this stock and go ape crazy on that stock, we could literally own considerable amounts of it and control it. Think about that as a future of RWAs, where RWAs can become as big as the TradeFi side of things and actually have influence on that. So that's you know, down the road. But
epic.
For now,
I want to get you. Yeah. I want to get one take from the audience, because we're running out of time and there's a lot of good questions.
Sorry,
but I've chosen this question to end off with. How does Shift ensure the real-world backing of tokenized assets remains transparent, verifiable on chain? We spoke a bit about bankruptcy remote, which is something that I don't think we've discussed so often, but it's super important to know. And it's essentially that one of the features you want in any sort of asset provider. But what about you know, verifying transparent, kind of what we would call the proof of reserves?
Yeah. So we actually spent a lot of time and efforts and money to create a very, very reliable and transparent system. What we do is you come into the minting platform. Let's say you deposit, just for fun, $300 and buy one Tesla stock. And we take those $300 to our brokerage, we buy that Tesla stock, and now it is held within the custodianship. And the custodianship has a transparent view for our CPA, our third-party CPA, to come in and see exactly what reserves are in that account at any given time. And so they sign a proof of reserve attestation which is on chain via Chainlink every 24 hours, that actually proves that we have over 100% collateral in that account. So there must be 100% at all times, and this is what we built. The mechanism does not allow us to create any token without backing assets, and B, we cannot use these assets in any way that is not regulatorily compliant and risk avert. So they're saved in a custodian, and they're always signed on and looked upon every 24 hours. And so it's a very, very safe system in that sense. I hope that answered the question, and thank you for asking.
Yeah, I think it's
Actually, there's a lot of questions in here from the audience. So good job there.
Yeah, good job to the audience. Good job to Tokenize Mars. You are the winner of today's question giveaway. But also important to note that Shift is a member of the Chainlink Build team as well, the Chainlink Build program as well, which is you know, and I see Chainlink are putting a very, very big emphasis on real world assets. You know, with their proof of reserve, they have a few other things coming, and Shift is obviously well positioned to take advantage of. Telegram audio. Who's that from?
People are calling me.
Did you get like a ping message? Anyway, we are at the end of a very thoroughly enjoyable hour. Thank you so much for everything. Next time we speak to you, Michael, where are we going to be? You know, in the timeline. If it's a month from now, if it's 6 weeks from now, what are you looking forward to?
So Shift stocks are going to be available in 2 weeks' time, and we're opening our minting platform, and we're starting to tokenize assets. It's super, super exciting. So I hope next time we talk, our product will be live.
That would be cool. A demo would be nice. We love demos. Yeah, DBs, thank you for coming on. We need to have more of you on the show. It adds a little element, a yin yang. Yeah, Mati, always a pleasure. Thank you everyone for listening, for asking a question, just to pop them up. A lot of these, a lot of questions about transparency. We had a question about ARTs being a better vehicle, and we discussed that. We talked about how Shift Stocks is truly permissionless in the sense that it behaves like crypto. Next time we'll probably get into a little bit more of a debate on, you know, if that's a good thing, if that's not a good thing. I know a friend of mine that believes, a friend of yours as well, that believes that, you know, RWA need to be permissioned with some fail-safe. That's a debate that's super interesting to have, but I think that will take another 45 minutes, just like our inflation debate as well. Whatever happened, the different, you know, experiments going on right now about how RWA need to come on chain, all the way from people, you know, sort of one-to-one copy pasta the TradFi rules and regulation, to the Shift way of doing it, which is permissionless, very DeFi native, you know, very crypto friendly. Thank you guys. This was the breakfast show. Next week we have Portal to Bitcoin, a later show. We also, Mati's also going to be migrating to a different time zone. Next week we'll be joined by Portal to Bitcoin, and the week after, the week before we go on a little break for a family holiday, we have the Chief Strategy Officer of Arbitrum coming on the show as well. So we have some nice guests lined up, and then we go sip mojitos, and then we come back.
Muted, dude.
You're on mute again, dude.
Thank you guys for joining. I got rugged once more. Have a wonderful day. Cheers.
Thank you.